Hi, Grandma and Grandpa.
Hi.
So, where were you during World War II?
But I was born during an air raid under the stairs at night. I can't remember anything about that, of course.
I was born actually 2 weeks before the war. My first memory was being up on the cliff a bit and booming out to sea. It was just two naval ships having a battle.
So, Pa, how old were you when the Second World War started?
When it started, I was just 6.5 years old. Yeah, and I can remember coming home from church one night and my sister sitting in the chair with tears in her eyes because it had just been announced by the Prime Minister that Australia was at war with Germany.
So, Nana, you obviously had a very different childhood to what I had growing up. You were in England at the time of World War II. Where exactly in England were you?
Well, I was in a city called Kingston upon Hull, and it was highly vulnerable to bombing from Germany. I got a notice through the letterbox to say that all children had to evacuate with the school the next day. And my memory of that is getting onto double-decker buses and my mother standing in the street with the tears flowing down her cheeks.
Are these some of the letters from your dad?
Yes, they are. But every time he wrote to Mum, he'd write a letter to me as well. And there was always a picture. This is one of the family. That was my mum and dad and my half-sister. He was a supply truck driver. And this one, when he was working on his truck. But they're all sort of what was happening to him at the time.
I was a boy and I was growing up. I wanted to be in the army, but I guess it became a bit more real to me when I heard of my uncle, one of my uncles, nearly being taken prisoner of war. And I guess that really sank home to me that, oh, this is real stuff. I had some friends who lost a son during the war, and, you know, to watch their mother, you can see it still affects me.
Just a time of sadness and it was horrible time, really.
August the 15th, 1945 was the big celebration, and people started to shout and suddenly we realised that peace had been declared, and there were just crowds and crowds of people, and they were hugging and they were shouting.
It was a most marvellous day. You can't express the joy and the feeling and the camaraderie that you got.